We're back here on Radio Row, live from Vegas. It's Super Bowl week here, as we are brought to you by Graybar, Bootleggin, Tavern, Trice Consulting, Mungenast, St. Louis Acura. You're talking about the sure Mike. You could see if you're watching right now that our next guest, Dhani Jones. Yeah, your camera's right there. You see, you know the sure Mike.
Hall of Famer right here. Look at that. You know, that's the Hall of Famer right there.
That is Anthony Munoz walking by.
Him, you know, I didn't play with him at Cincinnati, but we were on the same team, so to speak, because I got to play on the Bengals. But
right.
It's always good to see him. It's always good to catch up with so many people.
Would you have liked to hit him, or would you have wanted? I mean, what? Like, how would that have gone? How would that have gone if he would have gotten loose and you would have? Okay.
Like I moved past most people.
Okay.
You know, I made this funny joke. Everybody remembers a guy named Flozell the Hotel, and he was a Michigan State graduate, and then he went to play on the Dallas Cowboys. He was like, let's say probably 6'7", 6'8", 300 and let's just say 330 pounds. Had an 8-foot wingspan, and sometimes let me just say that I thought I was running 9 feet away from him, and I ended up being 7.5 feet. So, you know, a lot of the times guys with big hands and big wingspans, they're so difficult to go up against because as a smaller person, relatively speaking, you have to find a way to get around them.
It's weeks like this that I think for an average fan, if they get to consume the content that we put out there, videos, pictures, stuff like that, it's weeks like this that should really put it into perspective just how large some of these athletes are. Yeah. And then on top of that, you look at that, go find like an NBA center and put him next to an NFL linebacker and look at just the size difference there, to where if you're a parent out there that thinks that your 12-year-old is the next big thing, I mean, you know, sometimes the size just isn't going to get them there.
Well, it's also interesting when you look at some of the quarterbacks now that are in the NFL, and you also look at a lot of hockey players. People don't realize, like, hockey players are very, very small. Mm-hmm. A lot of hockey players are 5'8", 5'9", 180 pounds, 200 pounds, and everybody thinks that they're skating around as giants, right? So it's important to see people and have that perspective to understand sort of like dynamic differences. But, you know, regardless if you're 6'8" and 305, if you're 5'9" and 155, you know, if you have an acknowledgement of these unique gifts and have been surrounded by people that have supported you, you can figure it out.
Yeah.
Muggsy Bogues, how tall was he?
Right.
He dunk.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, look, I mean, for an example, let's look at the 49ers. Two of their most talented players, you could say, Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel. When they walk out of that tunnel together, you look at them, those two play the same sport. Those two play the same sport. They're equally as dynamic and as important to their offense as each other. Vast differences in size there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's plenty of comparisons that you can make.
Yeah. Jose Altuve, you mentioned Muggsy Bogues. Look at Jose Altuve for the Astros, professional athlete, just signed a huge deal with them.
Yeah, the game is one thing, but understanding who you are is another. Yeah. And you know, there's all these supposed to be perfect formulas of how tall or how strong or how fast you're supposed to be, how smart you're supposed to be. But there's people that stereotype day in and day out. And that's what I love about the game of football. And you're right. That's what I love about being here and just like looking around and just like wandering past some friends and other people that I haven't seen for a long period of time. But the game of football is phenomenal. Being here in Las Vegas is amazing. You know, it's good to see me, like Radio Row back to what it usually is. I feel like there's a lot of people that weren't here for the last couple of years that are now here. But I've been here for the last 4 years. I've been coming to Radio Row for probably the last 25 years. But in the last 4 years, really been supporting an organization called Capital Momentum. And you already
Yeah,
had
you
some
said,
food.
yeah,
Did you
right
get
there,
a chance to
right
talk
there.
to the kids?
Right there. Walk through. I talked to the girl when she came around and gave me the information on
good,
it,
good.
and talked to her there. And then it was busy over there when I walked over there for the food. When you give free food to media, it tends to become quite a scene around there.
I hope you get a chance to interview some of those young people, but they're all, justice involved at-risk youth that have been a part of the juvenile justice system and now have found a better way through Kappa Momentum, which really started in Dallas, Texas, and now has spread its wings in places like Pittsburgh.
I was going to say Pittsburgh now.
Yep. To be places like Denver and Houston and potentially Baltimore. I mean, there's so many great things that Kappa Momentum represents, and ultimately what Stand Together has done with its nonprofit partners and player coalition in the NFL. If you can see, like, the different places that Kappa Momentum are where different NFL cities, but Stand Together, the whole breadth of the organization supports nonprofits like Kappa Momentum, supports nonprofits like the Phoenix, which is focused on addiction, focusing on one of the country's biggest problems, downtown boxing gym. Kelly Sweeney, who is part of the Lions, and all the great work that they're doing in Detroit. So all these different nonprofits that are doing different things that are helping our country work through our problems are all supported by Stand Together.
And you're a busy guy, so for you to sign on and want to be a part of add on to it too is that speaks a lot to that too.
I spend a lot of time with the young people. I spend a lot of time with the leaders. I spend a lot of time advocating on behalf. Sean Alexander is a big supporter as well, and all of his work with the Players Coalition. I mean, I don't want to see these young people go back into the system. I want them to be able to be empowered. I want people to be able to believe in them and see them as contributing members of society that are helping everybody rise.
Yeah. Before we let you go, your Michigan Wolverines, they kind of put the state back on the map this year. I was gonna say you got to be still pretty happy, still on that high, right?
Who's not happy? I mean, I will say that the media cycle, unfortunately, moves on to the next big thing, unfortunately, too quickly, which is both good and bad. One is a sign of technology increasing. Another one is just a sign of people's patience. But I will say I'm still basking in the glory of Michigan winning the national championship. And I'm happy for Harbaugh that he got what he wanted. I'm happy for my school that we got what we wanted. I'm happy for Coach Moore in terms of he got what he wanted. I think everything is right in the world.
I was gonna say, kind of it's wins all around.
It's a win. It's like Kappa Momentum. It's a win for the young people to be able to go to be recognized. It's a win for them to be able to have a job. It's like a 12-month program. It's a win for them to be able to transition. It's a win for society to have a new contributing member.
Well, Dhani, man, thank you so much. So if more people want to figure it out or go find Cafe Momentum, it's cafemomentum.org/Super Bowl where they could find that. And thank you so much for feeding us today.
Thank you so much.
Nobody wants a surprise in their jelly donut. That's because the middle is the most important part. At Graybar, we're at the middle of electrical and datacom jobs across the country, connecting installers, facility managers, and business owners with smart solutions for their most challenging projects, which means stocking and delivering crucial products on time and on budget, with no surprises, thanks to our nationwide logistics network. Yep, Graybar does that.
Who's this?